Hello there, this is Patricia from Pinky's World. Today I want to show you how I made the gap card. A few of you have asked for a quick tutorial, so I'm making one for a sister-in-law's birthday coming up, so I thought I'd show you how I'm going about it. I'm using lovely papers from the Oso Ombre. I'm using the Curvy Days from the Quite Curvy bundle. And what else am I using? I'm going to go with the tulips, I think, this time. Timeless Tulips coming into spring. It's a spring birthday, so matching ink pads, Granny Apple Green and Melon Mambo. And I'm using the Melon Mambo card. And I'm going to finish with a bit of white ribbon, unless I change my mind. So, to start off, you're going to need... I'll keep these over. I have the most things cut for you, just to keep you from hanging about. The main card comes, I'm making it an A5 card. That's the size I do for my family. So that's the size I'm going with today. Just adjust your sizes accordingly. It's very easy. You want the main part of your card, an A4 sheet, and I'll explain this very well. A4 sheet, cut it down to 5.5 inches wide. So cut a whole strip along, right? When you get that, cut that down to 10 3/4. Normally that's about 11.5, just over 11.5. So cut it down to 10 3/4, put it in your scoreboard and score it at 8 inches. And that gives you the perfect size for your base. You will have a piece left. This is coming from this side of the card. And you need it to measure 2 3/4 inches by 5.5 so that it matches. It's the exact same size as this, but it's going to sit at the bottom of your card. Now, I've went ahead and cut the papers. The papers are cut just a fraction smaller all the way around, and I'm using the Granny Apple Green. A bit gory, but I thought it was good for the camera, and it actually doesn't look too bad when you tone in the colours with it. So cut these. You need 2 of these at 5 2/8 by 2.5. We're going to actually cut that down. If you haven't got the Curvy Days, and you can simply go ahead with this particular size, that'll be your joining part. You just pop that there. This is going to go in behind. So I'm using 2 circles, the largest one and the next one down, for this is going to be my stamping base, this is going to be my joining panel. With these I'm going to cut them. I'm going to start by cutting them now, just to give you an idea of how I'm going to go about it. I'm using this lovely patterned one, and when you're cutting it, you need to cut it. This line here, the bottom curve, is going to be your cutting line, so that actually cuts, this comes away. So before you do that, make sure that you're happy that when you cut that away, your panel is still going to reach both sides, because you need it to join to the top and the bottom to create that panel. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one here, and I'm going to cut the same down below this way. Just make sure that you've got your cutting curve at the edge. But if you're not using it, just go ahead with this, mat up your papers and continue on. So I'll come back to you in 2 seconds when I've got this cutting done. So I have these 2 edges cut. As you can see, I'll pop this in behind so you can see the lovely edge that it gives, top and bottom, and that leaves you with your nice gap for these 2 to attach. So it'll just cling on there, and that's all you'll need to do that. So for the nice patterned paper, I have cut it so that you can put it on if you're not doing the Curvy Days. So when you are using the Curvy Days, I'm going to go in with this lovely, just like a dotted edge, and I want it to sit the exact same way. So when you're putting your days in, just a wee bit there, when you're putting your days into your cutting machine, make sure that you line the same side up each time as your guide. So you know, if I went straight along the edge with one side, do the same for the top layer and die. So we want to run this through just the same as we did. I'm lining that up and bringing that close to the edge, and that, I know that's the same way I went through with this one, and it should fit over that nicely, like so. So I'm going to cut the bottom of that one and the top of this one, and it's again, it's the same. Lay your die down. Oops, turn your die around and lay it down because obviously you're going a different direction, and this time your straight edges at this side. So just remember that when you're popping it through your die, just to keep it all nicely lined up, and then we'll come back and trim these off. So I'm back now with these cut, and as you know, I cut them so there's a tiny bit of pink showing either side. So you want to line that up, keeping your distance either side and down as far as you want to go. You decide yourself, and then just mark it with a pencil as to where you want to chop it off. So make sure you're happy with the look of it. Bring that up a wee bit, show more of the pink. I'm saying roughly about there. So I'm just going to pop that in. Whoops, and chop it off. Yeah, look at that. So I'm bringing that right over, making sure this is lined up. This is the wee cutter we got on offer during one of the joining offers. The joining offer has changed now. It's a lovely 200 set of papers. Wow. So that fits in there perfectly. I'm going to do the same now with this one. And I've kept the gradient, as you can see, the darker of the granny apple green to the one side, so it's going that road. So be careful when you're doing that too if you're using that. So again, line this up. Try and keep the same distance. And we're just going to chop it. I think the curvy dies really give a lovely effect to the finish of your card. So if you're happy, go ahead and stick it down. And I'm just going to use some wet glue, which needs unplugged. Now, whenever you're cutting all your bits for your base card out, you still have another bit left, and that's this bit, which I'll explain to you now. So it's really good. You get the one whole card, and that's a good size. The A5 card is a pretty good, substantial card to receive. And I wasn't sure about the granny apple green with this, but I actually think it's not too bad at all. It's nice and bright for spring. Come out. I hate when you're getting to the bottom of your bottle of glue. You need to lay it land sideways or something. So stick this one on in place without making too much mess, Patricia. Just make sure that you're, the same part and at the top and the bottom. Getting rid of any residue. And that gives you that lovely finish. So we want to stick the piece of paper inside. And again, I might go the brighter up at the top, but you want to make it central as you can, so these pieces are going to fit. And you could just do that to make sure. I wanted to put, this is the way that piece was. This was the leftover piece of card that I had cut off from the side here, and I wanted to cut it right down the center so that I have two pieces to decorate my card. And I wanted the one with the spots. Obviously you're not going to get the two with the spots down at the bottom. So if you set it onto your card, showing the hasp bit, and then push your paper down no further than what it needs to go, and then make sure that the top part is covering. You can set it anywhere at all just to get the best depth out of it, so that it's covered top and bottom, and then you know where this goes. So I'm just going to double check, and it is just about central. So I'm going to line that card up there and know to put my bottom along here. You probably can't see that. So put your glue on if it comes out. Oh goodness me, I haven't even it opened. Twit. It'll come splurging out now. So just enough to keep it there. As I said, I want the darker green at the bottom. So I'm laying it up here. This is the same paper, it just comes with an ombre with no design. I have a couple of wee bits to poke out of here. That didn't come out. But I love that wee edging too. So you get a plain one and a dotted one when you're cutting in half, anything in half, which works out fine. So that is going to sit along the bottom, and you can see it gives you that lovely wee spot through there. So just add your glue to line it up because I will have to trim it. Open it up. So I'm laying that right up at the edge of the actual card. So when you're happy with it, you can trim it off. I'm just going to stick the top one on first. And I think I'm going to bring it right over a bit and trim both sides on this just so that I get that good curve in. Oh, come on. Such messy glue. I've really messed here, haven't I? So slide that to where you think it looks best, keeping it at the, butt it against that score line that you did to create your card base. Get rid of any extra. Oh, that glue is horrible today, isn't it? It gets to the bottom, you turn it upside down, and then it starts to ooze at you in all bloody directions. So I want that to dry before I can clear up here. Flip me pink, Patricia, you're a messy woman. So we're nearly finished with these days, so I can put them away. You need to clean all your wee bits out of the day when you're finished, which I will go back and do. And we'll trim this bottom one, it's bound to be dry. Where's my scissors? So just flip it over and use the edge of the pink to keep you nice and straight. Same up here, but I've got an awful lot of glue in that one. So that shows you your inside, and I'm going to trim that in a minute when I give it a paste to dry. This one, you think, how am I going to attach that? But it's so simple. It is held on by your circle. Where is my circle? Which is going to sit like so, and now you can see that there's a lovely granny apple green background, which really sets the whole card off. But you can see that you want to get it central, but you also want to give it something to cling to. So this is going to be pretty tight for me. I nearly would have needed to go on with a bigger circle, but I'm going to hope for the best. So I'm putting the glue. I'm not going to use that wet glue because it's annoying. I'm going to put my glue here. So get that lined up. Roughly get it central. And then I'm going to just do very light pencil marks just to show me where I can put that glue. So just in here. Just glue anything you can to give it a wee bit of hold, because it's got a lacy effect on it. You know, there's bits missing out of it, so give it your I'll find my lines now. There they are. So before you press it down, just make sure everything's in place. That needs to go over slightly. It's about there. And you can see that's now clinging. You need to do the same to the bottom, making sure that your card is totally lined up. That is the important part. Hold it steady, mark your area, and then just go in and fill it with some glue. Sort of know the circle is going round, so give that all glue and then do a few wee bits just to hold it in the other position. It's doing all the work, so you want to make sure it has a good grip. And that is good strong glue. So again, line it up. So it's nicely straight at the bottom and meeting up at the sides, and then just press. And that does take fairly quick. If you see any pencil marks, go in and get them a wee clean up. So I'm going to go and trim off these wee bits. So I'm working on the sentiment part. I'm just going to put happy birthday on it. I have cut myself 3/4 of an inch, I think that is. Yeah, no, it's just under an inch, and that fits into the very top of your lovely labels punch. If you haven't got these punches, just go ahead and cut, you know, a layered rectangle. So that's just under an inch and by 4 inches. I've chopped off one end. I'm going to go in there and chop off the other end, and because it is slightly smaller, it's slipping about, so make sure and turn your punch over and get that lined up where you're happy. Use those points to mark you and hope for the best. Then this wee piece in the basic white, it is 3/4 of an inch. No, sorry. Well, what is it? 3 3/4 is what I cut it at, but it's going to be too long, so you want to now go in and cut it, let's say another 1/4 of an inch. If you use your, this marks this, this marks this, so where we want that to go is to line up. Right, so I think I could take 1/4 of an inch off it. And I'll tell you what that is then while I'm cutting it. I should have been more prepared for this, but I wasn't expecting to do this, to be honest with you. So that was 3/4, so I'm bringing it 1/8 down from the 3/4. So that was 3 and 6, 4, 3 and 5/8. Nearly got there. Which should bring us, that fits in the same one, only into the centre because it's 3/4 of an inch wide. And hope that it fits. It does. So I'm going to write those measurements down because I will forget to tell you. So sentiment. So we're going to stamp the sentiment, which is just the happy birthday one out of Timeless Tulips. This wee one here. So I'm going to do it in the green, just so it all tones in, the granny apple green, and just central stamp it if you can. It's a small sentiment, really. Probably could have done with a bigger one, so choose well when you're doing yours. I just wanted to keep it all the one stamp set so that I wasn't torturing you with too many things to choose from. So I'm going to go in with a few dots there. I did do ribbon, and I might actually leave it and I'll go in with it at another time. I haven't made my mind up yet because she's going to be 60 this year and I want to get a 60 in, so I might put numbers or ribbon or something. So that's going to be for those. Get those out of the way. And now we'll want a wee sentiment for our name. I'm just going to punch the outer layer for you. I'm using the double oval punch, is what I used in the other card. And I'm not going to punch the wee oval yet. I put it to one side and I put pearls along here. So use what you have again. I think I'll punch it out for you anyway because I'm going to stamp her name using the Make a Difference, which is always handy to have. That punches out 2 at a time, so make sure you keep your other one for another idea. This will go here and I'll stamp our name there. We're going to now start and make our tulip. I want a bundle of tulips with a ribbon on it, so I'll be layering up and whatever, but so far the card's looking good. I'm going to repeat this. I'm going to cut another the exact same size, and when you're putting it behind your card, I have to move these out of the way, just set it on the back of this so that everything lines up. Have a bit of glue here, press it down, set everything straight, and that should hold it for you, so when you open it up it's in the exactly, you don't want to see it around the outside of your card. So you can either go smaller if you're not confident doing that, or do the same size and line it up with the side. It also adds, I think, a wee bit of extra bounce if it's attached. So cut 2, one for there and one for here, and that'll give that a good firm grip for holding your layered up card. So remember that you're going to need 3 of the largest pink circle. Right, so now we're on to this. I'm really confusing you all today, but we're getting there. As usual, I have lots of wee masks made already for the tulips. I most likely will use the smaller tulip because the card area that I have here for stamping on is not so big. So I'm going to use the smaller or thinner stem as well. Need a bigger block to put that on. So I'm just going to stamp those in Granny Apple Green so that again it's all 10 in. And you just want to layer a lot of those. I'm going to stamp over this page. I'm finished with this one anyway. So if you set your masks sort of where some of them are going to be cut out, some of them are going to be repeat stamped, and I'm going to do a real wee bundle. So these stems are going to go maybe up as far as that. And I'm using the thinner end of the stem. I know you're supposed to use this end for the thing to sit on, but I'm not doing it. I need to go this way. So just stamp loads as far out as you want to go. I'm just keeping them all coming together. Some will eventually go to the outer side, which I don't mind because I need something for the bow to come in. I'm nearly sure that's enough, but I'm going to overstamp some. See what happens. You can go back in, or you can also do this. If the bow's going to be sitting there, do your stem coming out like so. just trick the eye to think there's far more going on there than there is. So my bow will be sitting across here to cover that end. And now we'll want to go with our nice wee tulips. So as I say, I'm using a small one. And some of them are going onto the page and others are going to be masked and 3D'd. Try and not get ink everywhere. Oops. Now, as always, stamp this onto a piece of scrap card just to make sure that you're happy. It is a very dark colour, and I want to do a secondary one, which will be a lighter colour. So we're going to have a variety of, I'm going to do the dark ones first onto here. Just do a couple. And then I'm going to set a wee mask on. Do another one. And maybe a lower one. We'll do a mask there. And a mask there. You can see that building up. It's not bad. So I'm going to go in now with a secondary one in the very background there. I may 3D it, I may not. I haven't made my mind up. So you want to cover most of those so that you're not standing on top of them, and just put a wee slip of a one in behind. Now, where else would I put one? I think I'm going to stamp and cut out some and layer them up on top of that to give it a nice 3D. So I'm going to stamp off and then stamp here. If you've got your punch, you could punch them out. I didn't go for the punch that particular time when I wished I had, but I didn't. So I reckon 1, 2, maybe one hanging over this way. So we'll do 4 so that we have 4 to play with. Just stamp on the scrap, stamp on. If you want more dark ones, you can come back at another time. So I'm getting messed up here. There's too much stuff around me. Right, I'm going to cut these out and come straight back to you. Right, I've been playing around here, stamping a couple of them in light, cutting them out, layering them up, and I think I need a dark one in here, so I'm actually going to stamp it. Because I just don't think it's enough going on there for me. So I'm just going to stamp that there. These ones I have added a very thin dimensional to, and then the dark ones I've added a bigger dimensional to, but I think we also need more stems because we've more heads than we have stems, which doesn't make sense, does it? I may stamp another one down the other side, I'm not sure. This is the joy of playing with your stamps. Just have fun and just build up the picture nice and slowly so that it's pleasing to your eye. So I'm just going to add, sort of cross them over so that it looks like there's a lot going on there. You're not going to see this mess at all behind your flowers, so don't worry about it. But the stems of tulips are fairly thick, and I haven't even added leaves yet. So we'll do that now. Stamp a few leaves. Where is my stamp set? Right, I'm going to go with this sort of longish leaf. That's kind of slimmer, not as fast as the other one. And just stick to the same colour. And again, get your paper and check that you're happy with, if it's going to be too dark and you do lighter ones. Lighter ones not great, so we'll just go with the dark. Sort of want them. Where's my mask? Mask up anything you don't want covered with your leaf. So I'm going to go with these two and just do a bit of a leaf sticking out there. And probably another wee one there. Could go with one up at the top, just a bit of a leaf sticking. And maybe one over the other side. So it gives a nice appearance of leaves, and we'll go down around this side. So just add another wee one in here. And then just play around with your flowers again and see if you're happy with it. I am going to be covering Lincoln O'Reilly. So masks of, excuse me, where did we have them at the front? So we had these wee ones sort of popping out here. You're really just building your own wee bouquet, aren't you? And I did have one coming out the side. Could have a couple of leaves. Am I going mad here? That there. This wee one will be coming down, and this one here. So, well, not too bad. We could do with a wee leaf here and here maybe. So, that's what I'm going to do. Stick my mask on this baby. Just drop a wee leaf. Now, I think we're nearly finished, I think. So I'm going to close these up anyway, in case they get destroyed. I'll start building this bouquet. So remove all your mass, and this is the time you get very daring and decide just to go for it. Once they're stuck, it's a job getting them off again. So we want one sort of there. And we know we're putting sort of a wee group of them up and down, and one hanging. So we can stick these boys on. As I said, just stamp yourself out plenty to play with, so you have extras if you need them. Oh, didn't put a sticker on that one. Should I pop it under? No, we're going to stick a sticker on it. Actually, put it on there so that it holds it from it. And then these two, this one was coming out. Well, I don't know where you were coming out. I've lost your space now. So that's going to go there, and that's going to go there. And we have lost this one. So what you do is just cut it down so that it's just peeping out. Sort of lopsided them out. Want something at the other side now? There's no end to me, there's not. I do not know when to stop. But it's a nice bouquet now, isn't it? I may add another one there, maybe a wee slip of one. I'll say at the end, you'll see it in the picture. So we have created a bow, put a sticky dot on the back of it. This is the white linen. I'm not sure if it's still available or not, but I'm putting it in the very center there so that it's just decorative, nothing else. And that will go onto my card like so. So that's me nearly finished. I will be doing all these and decorating them up, and you'll see how the finished look when I get there. Adding that to the side and repeating inside, remember to cut one big circle to back that up because it's only clinging on there, and that would give it so much more stability and keep the back nice and clean. And then do the same, set it on the back of this, press it down and it sticks to your inner card. Stamp out your verse or type your verse, cut your circle out again and pop it in the middle, and there you have your finished card. So I hope that all made sense to you. I will have all the measurements in on the blog if you need them, and I hope you have a wee go and come and share it over at Create with Pinky on Facebook. Bye.